Hey guys! The driveway weeds took over while we were away for a month, so I thought I would use this as an opportunity to show you my method for quickly removing the weeds from the driveway. Okay, let me give you an overview of what we're dealing with. So this is actually, we were gone for a month, but this is actually probably about 5.5 weeks worth of weeds. I weeded it just before we left, and you can see it's just way more than I really would want to pull by hand. And that is actually what we used to do in the beginning. Okay, so my new and improved method, which I love, it's actually fun, when can you say that about weeding, is that I use a propane weed torch. So initially I had an electric torch, which does work, but it's a lot slower because it just doesn't get as hot as a propane torch. So my setup here, I just have the propane torch and a propane tank like the size you would usually use on a grill. And to make it easy for me to move it around the driveway, you can purchase carts for the purpose, but I just used this dolly that we already owned. So I just have it strapped on there, and that allows me to just wheel it around while I'm working. Okay, here's a good before shot of the driveway. Now let me show you the propane tank in action. Okay, I finished burning the weeds out of the driveway. So let me show you the result, and then we can talk about how much time and money it costs to use this method to take care of the weeds. So as you can see, the driveway is gloriously weed-free. It's just an awesome result. And I can't even begin to think about how many hours it would have taken me to do this by hand. As I mentioned, we did try to manage it that way in the beginning, and it's just kind of too big of a driveway for that. So let me walk down to the gate and look back towards the house, and I'll show you the improvement. Okay, so right here, this is my happy moment. Driveway, gloriously weed-free. So I think it just makes a huge difference on how the whole house looks. Okay, so now that you've seen what the weed torch can do, let's talk about how much time and money goes into maintaining the driveway using a propane torch. So typically what I'm finding is I get about 4.5 hours of weeding time out of one of those propane tanks, and that costs us 40 euros, which right now in the US would be about $43. And to do the driveway this time, taking it back from 5.5 weeks of extreme weed growth, ended up using a little less than 2 tanks. So it's not the cheapest thing, but when you consider how much it would cost to have somebody come weed it for you, I think it's a pretty good deal. Now obviously we've only been here for about 8 months, and so the weeds in the driveway are very well established, and over time, if we keep up with this process, there will be fewer and fewer weeds. And my intention is to go around once a week and maybe spend 30 minutes or so just kind of hitting any of the new weeds that have emerged that week. And I think that if we do that, it'll actually over the long haul cost us a lot less to do this, because like right now, I mean, we're starting with these really big weeds and it takes longer to burn them out. If we are catching them when they're just little pre-emergent weeds, totally different game. All right, and so another thing that I really like about this is that I can also use it to kind of edge and reshape the driveway. So we have a very symmetrical courtyard, and it had kind of gotten out of round over the years. And so I can quickly go in with the weed torch and start working on reshaping areas that maybe have taken on more of an oval shape that should have been a circle and that kind of thing. So like I said, it did take us almost 2 tanks. So I spent about 9 hours weeding the driveway. Now at the start of the video I said this was a quick method, and it is, but quick is relative. So I could never go hand weed this driveway in 9 hours. So this seems like a really great path forward. And I do want to mention that while using a propane torch to kill driveway weeds is really effective, you do need to remember that you're working with a flame. So ultimately you need to be really smart about what you're doing. This is not a method that I would use if it hadn't rained for a while, or if we were out having a really windy day. And certainly if you live in an area with a lot of risk of wildfires or drought, you probably want to find another method. This may be something that works for you for parts of the year and not for other parts. And we may find over the course of the year that we have to employ different methods depending on what's going on with the weather or the conditions locally. I do ultimately really like this method because we don't spray things in our yards, so this is an organic way to deal with the weeds in our driveway. Right now those weeds are really established, so this is probably about the fastest and most effective way we can tackle those weeds. It may be that over time we employ different methods, or we've used several different methods, but for right now this has really been a good approach for us. So if you're currently battling weeds in a gravel driveway, I hope this video overview of using a propane torch to kill them has been useful. If you would like to stay up to date with our progress as we work to restore our 17th century French farmhouse, please be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.